All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, in 2018, when Dan Mullen was hired as the head football coach at Florida, he was welcomed with a hero's welcome, so to speak. You think about it because Mullen knew about what it took to win at Florida, as he was an assistant there during the mid 2000s when the Gators won a pair of national titles. And things seem to be falling in place for Mullen at Florida as you look at his first 3 years there as the head football coach. The Gators won 29 games, which included three consecutive trips to a New Year's Six bowl game. They won two of those, and they also won the SEC East last year. But things never came together for Florida here in 2021. They've lost five out of their last seven games, and in that includes blowout losses to Georgia and South Carolina. The Gators also lost to Kentucky earlier this season, but the icing on Mullen's termination cake came last night when Florida lost in overtime to Missouri. Now, this year, Florida is 5-6, and they'll need to beat rival Florida State next Saturday, who is also 5-6, just to be bowl eligible. And you think about it, Florida, they're 2-6 this year in the SEC. Only Vanderbilt has a worse record than the Gators in the SEC East. And, with all of that said, after the fast start from Mullen, where did things go wrong for him so fast? And I mean, to me, number one, it starts with the fact that Florida lost a lot of key talent from last year's team. But with that said, that's why you have to recruit. And Dan Mullen has never been known as a great recruiter. And the thing is this, especially in the SEC, if you are going to keep up with the big boys of this conference, you have to consistently recruit. You have to consistently be out there coaching these guys up. And that is something that, Florida really has not been able to do. Defensively, the Gators have been very bad at times this year. They're 53rd in the nation in total defense. But you think about it, earlier this year, we saw Florida give up 49 points to an LSU offense that has struggled for the majority of the year. They gave up 40 points to South Carolina, and South Carolina struggled on offense. And then Florida gave up 52 points to Sanford, and they were able to win that game. But the thing is like, that's an FCS school. You're supposed to mop the floor with them, and Florida had to come from behind to beat them. So these are a lot of things that didn't sit well with AD Scott Strickland, and I'm sure that it didn't sit well with a lot of alumni for Florida as well. And again, like I've talked about in recent podcasts, the pressures of being a head football coach in the SEC. You can really not take a back step. You can really not take that foot off of the throttle at any time because you see how difficult it is for these programs to keep up. Then, when you think about Florida, the fans are sitting back, but they're also seeing the success that Alabama and Georgia are having. And I mean, Alabama is consistently getting top recruiting classes. They're consistently contending for the national title. And then you look at Georgia and what Georgia has been able to do first with Mark Rick, and then, of course, now with Kirby Smart. So if you're Florida, you have your resources are second to none. You're right up there with these other top programs in the SEC. And, the bottom line is you're saying, well, why are we 5-6 after being in the SEC championship game last year and giving Alabama a run for their money? We should be right back here contending again. And I knew that this was going to be a down year for Florida because they lost a lot of talent from last year. But even with that said, with that down year, I still expected them to finish with a record of 8-4 and say, you know what, let's build off of that and go towards 2022 and really try to push it again to contend for an SEC championship. But I don't think anybody saw this coming. So it's one of those where Florida's really going to try to go out there and get a home run higher and get a home run higher that can be consistent. That is something that Scott Strickland talked about today with his team. So it's going to be interesting to see because, like I've talked about in previous podcasts, there's so many big jobs out there nationally when you think about it, as far as like the quality head coaches. You think about USC, LSU, potentially Miami. Now Florida's in that mix as well. And there's like several others as well. But with that said, so this is going to be more important than ever for the Gators to find that hire in order for them to keep up. And again, let's not forget, Texas and Oklahoma are coming to the SEC in a couple of years as well. So that's only going to make it even tougher. So this is a very important hire for Florida. Of course, besides their defense, they struggled on offense a lot this year with Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson at quarterback. So there's a lot of reasons why things went south for Dan Mullen. I expected him to be able to weather the storm, but again, struggling to beat Sanford and then losing to South Carolina and Missouri, I think that kind of really sealed his fate. He's five, like the Gators are 5-6 right now. If they're 7-4 or 8-3, we're not having this conversation right now. But the bottom line is you got to win. I know Scott Strickland said there are other things off the field that pertain to this, but the bottom line is winning cures a lot of problems. Florida didn't win enough games this year, and this is why Dan Mullen is no longer the head coach in Gainesville. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.